You plant in the spring with the hope of harvesting your first sweet fruits in the summer, but then the scorching heat arrives, parching the soil, scorching the leaves yellow, and causing many plants to even wither and die before they can even bear fruit. Because the truth is, not every place enjoys a pleasant summer. But the good news is that there are some plants that are practically born to endure the heat. The harsher the sun, the more they thrive. In this video, I will introduce to you the 10 best heat-tolerant fruit trees for your backyard and homestead. Every week, I share grounded insights on organic gardening and intentional living. Hit subscribe to ensure you're getting authentic, earth-first advice you can actually trust straight to your feed. However, before diving into this list, there is one crucial point to clarify. Heat and drought tolerance does not mean a plant does not need water. No fruit tree can consistently yield high production with absolutely no irrigation. What people refer to as drought-tolerant trees are actually those capable of utilizing water more efficiently, enduring longer dry spells, and still maintaining life as well as fruiting capacity under harsh conditions. So, what are the criteria to evaluate whether a fruit tree is truly heat and drought tolerant? The first is the ability to survive and continue growing in extreme temperatures, without suffering widespread leaf scorch or massive fruit drop. The second is the capacity to develop a deep root system to seek out its own water sources, rather than depending entirely on continuous surface irrigation. The third is the ability to minimize water loss, typically through smaller leaves, thicker leaf cuticles, or lower transpiration rates. Finally, it is the ability to reliably set fruit even during hot, dry summers, as there are many plants that remain perfectly healthy but stop producing fruit when temperatures spike too high, such as tomatoes or sweet peppers. Below are the 10 most typical fruit trees divided into 5 distinct groups, ranging from familiar names to completely surprising exception. Group 1, low-maintenance plants. These are precisely the plants for busy people. This is the plant group that possesses the strongest drought tolerance in the entire list. Leading this group is undoubtedly the pomegranate tree. This plant was practically made for desert climates with its extreme sun tolerance, minimal pests and diseases, and low water requirements once the root system is established. The wonderful pomegranate variety is particularly famous for its high yield and strong adaptability to hot, dry climates. However, the most important secret when growing pomegranates lies in the watering method. Instead of watering a little bit every day, you need to water deeply and then let the soil dry out gradually before the next watering. This forces the root system to plunge deep into the ground to find water on its own, helping the tree tolerate drought much better in the long run. If you constantly water shallowly, the roots will only concentrate on the surface, and the tree will become weaker when entering the peak of summer. During hot and humid months, growers should also check for fruit borers around the fruits and leaves for early treatment. Alongside the pomegranate is the olive tree, a living symbol of the hot, dry Mediterranean climate. There are olive trees in the wild that live for hundreds of years in conditions with almost no rain for months. That is why they are particularly suitable for hot and dry backyards. However, the biggest mistake of novice olive growers is overcaring. This tree prefers poor, dry, and extremely well-drained soil. If watered too much, the tree will focus on nourishing leaves instead of flowering and setting fruit. Varieties like Arbequina or Mission Olive are especially suitable for backyards due to their moderate size and very strong heat tolerance. Some varieties also require other trees to support cross-pollination, so you need to research thoroughly before planting. Closing out this group is the jujube, or Chinese date. This is perhaps the most underrated fruit tree in hot climates. The jujube has extreme drought tolerance, few pests and diseases, and is almost not picky about soil. Even in nutrient-poor or arid soils, the tree still develops steadily. During the first few years, the tree may grow a bit slowly because it is focusing on building a deep root system. But once mature, it is nearly impossible to kill. Varieties like Li and Lang are often planted together to increase pollination capability and improve fruit quality. Group 2, the hotter the weather, the sweeter the fruit. This group is much more interesting, as these are the types of plants whose fruits become tastier the more heat and sunlight they encounter. In fact, many plants in hot, dry climates accumulate more sugar when subjected to mild heat stress, making the fruit's flavor noticeably richer. A prime example is the fig. This is a plant capable of growing vigorously in hot climates and poor soil. An interesting fact is that many people mistakenly believe this plant never flowers but only produces fruit. However, a fig is actually an inverted flower. The sweet flesh we eat daily consists of hundreds of tiny minuscule flowers blooming hidden inside the skin. The more sunlight there is, the sweeter and more intense the figs usually become. Backyard growers love this plant because its size can be controlled by growing it in large pots, or it can be planted directly in the ground to form a large tree for higher yields. However, during the summer, mulching around the base is almost mandatory to protect the shallow feeder roots near the surface from excessive heat. An extremely important note is that when the fruit begins to ripen, you should reduce watering. If the plant absorbs too much water at this stage, the fruit is highly prone to splitting and losing its flavor. Two of the most prominent varieties today are black mission fig and brown turkey. Similar to the fig is the grapevine, a plant that practically embodies the hot, dry summer of the Mediterranean. Grapes love intense sunlight, dry air, and a large temperature diurnal variation. That is why many of the world's most famous wine-producing regions are located in places with scorching summers. Growing grapes means you must invest in a sturdy trellis system right from the start, as this is a plant that utilizes vertical space instead of taking up a lot of ground area. In return, however, grape yields are incredibly high. A mandatory requirement when growing grapes is learning how to prune the vines every year. If the plant is allowed to grow freely, the canopy will become too dense, lacking airflow and easily prone to fungal disease outbreaks. Varieties like Thompson seedless or flame seedless are all highly suitable for hot climate backyards. You are probably wondering why the hotter it gets, the sweeter the fruit becomes, right? There is a piece of folk wisdom that many veteran gardeners pass down to one another. The sweetest fruit grows from the harshest soil. Plants like figs or grapevines always seem to yield the best flavor when they have to struggle a little with the hot, dry summer. The ancients often believed that the harsh sunlight was nature's way of concentrating the flavor inside the fruit. Conversely, if the plant is pampered with overly cool weather or drinks its fill of water after heavy rains right before harvest day, the fruit will grow very quickly, but the sugar content becomes diluted, making the fruit watery and noticeably bland. That is why the ancients strictly avoided harvesting fruit on rainy days. Group 3 year-round fruiting trees. These are the famous citrus varieties known for their ability to yield harvests nearly year-round in warm climates. First is the lemon, a tree that is practically indispensable in the sun-drenched gardens of the United States. Lemons thrive in intense sunlight and provide a prolonged harvest spanning many months of the year. However, unlike pomegranates or olives, citrus trees require a more consistent water supply to maintain their productivity. The soil must be well draining because citrus root systems are highly sensitive to waterlogging. The Meyer lemon variety is particularly well suited for small backyards or container planting, due to its compact size and year-round fruiting capability, whereas the Lisbon variety is hardier and delivers higher yields. Alongside the lemon is the lime, a compact green citrus that is exceptionally productive in warm climates. Limes offer the advantage of being much smaller than many other citrus trees, making them suitable for backyards with limited space. However, they are also quite sensitive to the cold. In regions with light frost, growers often place the trees near south-facing walls to utilize the heat radiated from the wall at night. Varieties such as key lime or bear slime all bear fruit very consistently if kept sufficiently moist during the summer. And of course, no list would be complete without the orange tree, one of the most popular fruit trees in the American South. Interestingly, oranges grown in hot regions often achieve a very high level of sweetness thanks to the abundant solar radiation. However, excessively harsh afternoon sun can sometimes burn newly set young fruits. So many growers leave the foliage slightly denser to provide shade from the direct sunlight. The Valencia orange variety is famous for its exceptional juiciness, while the clementine is favored for being easy to peel and perfect for small backyards. Group 4, the lawbreakers. Not every heat-tolerant tree follows the familiar strategies. There is one variety on this list that truly acts like a lawbreaker. The most typical example is the Anna apple. While most people think apples only thrive in cold regions, this specific variety was almost created to defy the desert climate. Thanks to its exceptionally low chill hour requirement, the Anna apple can still flower and bear fruit in places with very short winters. The tree prefers nutrient-rich soil and strong morning sunlight. However, due to its heavy fruit-setting capacity, growers are required to thin out the young fruit if they want the remaining ones to reach a larger size and better quality. Many people also plant Dorset golden alongside it to assist with cross-pollination. Group 5, shade trees. This is also the final tree on the list, the mulberry. It is perfect for those who want both fruit and shade. Mulberries grow extremely fast, yield a massive amount of fruit, and are incredibly easy to propagate from cuttings. However, precisely because of its vigorous vitality, the tree requires a great deal of space. Its strong root system and wide canopy make it unsuitable for planting close to house foundations or permanent structures. Additionally, the large volume of dropped fruit can stain yards if not harvested in time. Varieties such as Pakistan or Black Beauty are especially favored for their long, sweet fruits and exceptionally high yields. In general, a harsh and scorching climate is by no means a barrier to your dream of owning a lush fruit orchard, provided that we know how to correctly select the right varieties that suit the soil and climate. Many plants in the previous list even consider the heat and aridity as excellent catalysts to accelerate growth and accumulate sweetness for the fruit. Among the many excellent choices mentioned above, which plant do you find most impressive and want to try your hand at growing in your garden? Or do you know of any other exceptionally heat-tolerant fruit trees that deserve to be honored on this list? Please share in the comment section below. See you in the next video.